It's fine, sweetie.
We're trying to figure out what's going on.
I'm fine. It's fine. Hi guys. This is Andrea, and that's Clarence, and that's Clarice, and this is It's Fine, Sweetie podcast. And I don't know what the joke is.
It's so meta. It's so meta.
You're like, it's fine. Okay. Jesus.
All right.
So, did you read anything upsetting today or?
No, I'm fine. It's fine. I'm fine. I'm in a great mood. Why is it funny?
It's just so obviously not, but whatever. It's okay. If you don't want to talk about it, it's okay.
I'm fantastic. There's literally nothing wrong. I'm fine. It's
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, cool.
I don't even know what's happening.
Me either, girl. Me either.
You know, life is confusing.
You do a podcast by yourself.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine, all right. Yeah, you're like, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Wait,
Leaving.
who needs to do the podcast by themselves? All of us or?
You two can do it by yourself. You can have a great time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, how about Kendrick Lamar?
Yeah.
Out the way that we're recording these is like this will come out like 15 years later.
That's okay, because people will know what we're talking about.
Lamar,
I was completely taken aback.
Me too.
Because first I jumped on TikTok and they were like, Kendrick Lamar is dissing Snoop Dogg. And I was like, whoa, he dropped a new song.
People are so dramatic.
And then, I know, right? But, you know, clickbait. And then so I was like, oh, shit, he dropped a new song. Let me go see. And then I'm like, well, what? It's a whole album?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, the rabbit hole just goes from there. Shit.
So, you know, Kendrick, it grows on you. You have to listen to it a couple of times. So I was listening to Reincarnated before I went and did my day today, and I got to the end part of it, and it was so fascinating because he starts talking about, he's like having a conversation with God, and God's like, yeah, but you were frustrated, that's why you fell from heaven. I'm like, what's he talking about? And then he starts talking about, he's like, you were the music man and blah blah blah, and he goes on, and I'm like, he's talking about Lucifer, because you know, Lucifer in the Bible, depending on a lot of theologians say that, like, you know, there's more than one Satan in the Bible, and the one that's named Lucifer, he was basically jettisoned out of heaven, not because he was like the devil or he was too proud or whatever, but he was a bad businessman. Like, God had like these soldiers, and they'd go to the earth and they'd make all these deals, and there was this one angel, and he was music itself, and when he moved he would make music, and he was, you know, the bright star, and that was Lucifer. And so I was like, oh, is he talking about Lucifer? And then he goes on and he goes on, and at the end he goes, I just felt like I needed to rewrite the story of Lucifer so we could take our power back. And like my jaw just dropped, and I was like, God damn.
Yeah,
do.
one episode,
one
of the verses is Tupac, and one of the verses is Billie Holiday, is what they said. And I was just like, I mean, I don't know. It's just, I love.
You have to be a scholar to listen to this, dude.
You do.
Like, it takes months to get through a fucking album because I have to stop and do research.
But yeah, I think that for him was really interesting. Well, first of all, when they were like, oh, hey, he got this mariachi person from fucking Dodger game. And that was just a few weeks ago. I was like, he was like, oh, I heard that person and I put them on the album and then released it a couple weeks later. Like, that's crazy to me.
It is crazy.
Did you see the thing that I sent you about even the title, the GNX, and how it was like this
the
unique
only
card?
black woman, yada yada. Yeah, I mean, again,
is it not a Grand National? I thought it was just a Grand National.
It's a Grand National, but it's a GNX, and it's like that they only make one, and it only comes in black. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Like, what do you think it's like to have a conversation with this man?
Intimidating.
This is OCD, ADHD.
I think if you want to have I think there's levels of conversation that you have with him. Like, if you're just his friend, like, whatever, like, you're going to have a conversation. He's probably really cool. But, like, if you want to have it, I don't know that he has a whole lot of conversations where he feels matched, because that would be really hard.
I think too, like probably on this, depending on the subject, because I feel like he does a lot of research, but probably along like some like lines that he's interested in. And to
Yeah,
me,
that's what I mean. It's like autism.
yeah, and so I think like what he seems to be interested in is like, Black history, Black economics, and religion.
It just feels like he would be jumping from subject to subject.
I feel like he's probably just a really great listener. It seems like he takes something from everyone and something from everything, and like that's how he builds his.
I mean, maybe a lot of artists do. Like when you listen to the end, I mean, I don't know if you did this, but when you listen to the end, the author who did Only Good Indians, Stephen,
Jim
Stephen
Graham
Grant.
Jones.
yeah, when you listen to him talk about like thanking his friends for the conversation and the pickup basketball, and how like he's like, you guys never knew it, but like you changed the direction of the story.
Yeah.
And I was like, so again, it's just like this observation of the world that people put into their art.
Yeah, like I was watching the piano lesson, and then I watched the after commentary, and they were saying, what was the playwright's name who passed away?
Piano
Williams.
lesson.
It's the same dude who wrote Fences.
You know,
Okay.
all the Denzel's children produced this show, that
That.
movie, The Piano
Okay.
Lesson.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was thinking of some other actor. So it was like another piano thing that came out. But okay. Anyway, sorry. So it's the Denzel Washington thing.
The Denzel Washington one, but they were saying that he basically, the reason that the dialogue in the play feels so authentic is because he would sit in the bar and he would sit and just listen to people talk, and like, yeah, that found its way into the art. So I think, yeah, I think, I don't know, like that's one of my favorite things to do is just go people watch. So, but
Yeah.
it feels invasive to people listen.
I think people are interesting. Like Quinta Bronson was on some show, and she was like the first season of Abbott was her mom's, kind of like her mom's stories, and then her mom retired, and now she like has a friend that's her husband's friend, and then another friend. And I was like, well, first of all, I hope they get some kind of credit. But
Right.
second of all, like, just imagine like, I don't know, like you're farming me kind of for stories. I feel like I need some money for that. But I don't know. I do think that's interesting. But I often find myself like, just, I know you're supposed to mind your business. And that's like what sometimes things get really hard for me because I'm like, I'm genuinely curious. I just want to know. And then people are like, yeah, but that's my business. And you're like,
Yeah,
what?
can you tell me anyway?
Yeah, but like minding your own business is just like not sticking your nose
Subjective.
into, like, you, like, yeah, I'm not like trying to tell you what's right or what's wrong or
Yeah, I'm just
whatever.
genuinely
I
curious.
just
But
want
like
the
if you're
tea.
on the phone at Walmart and I'm listening to it, I'm fucking listening. Like, I'm
I'm like,
love drama that
she
has
did
nothing to
what?
do with me. You know
But
what I
for
mean?
me, like, it's like even work. Like, I mean, and that's something I think I told another friend, like, I've been trying to just recite to myself, like, your need to understand the why is preventing you from accepting what is. But like, I know, like, I'm always like, oh, I'm so curious. Like, how did you make that decision?
Right.
When you made that decision, what were you hoping would be the outcome?
Yeah. What was the thought process?
Assuming that people like have a second where they think and they go, this might be this effect, this might be that effect. But like most people, I don't think do that.
No.
And so I think that's what's really interesting to me because I don't think you know that until you start asking questions because then you start understanding like, oh, most people don't think the same way.
That to me was like the most jarring part of like getting a diagnosis, is that you don't know like all the things that you don't know that other people don't do, that you think that they do. And so like it made life so hard to be like, okay, but I would have thought of 100 things before I got there, and I would have considered all these things. Or even when people are like, when I fuck up and it's like, well, why'd you do that? And then I have 100 reasons and I'm telling you the whole thing, and they're like, okay,
Those are excuses.
yeah, like it's just like those are just excuses. And I'm like, no, like the way I got here is very logical. Or like just getting cut off. like that a lot of people don't have thoughts in their head and they don't think things through forever and ever. And on one level, like that's freeing, and then on the other, and I'm like, how do you not? Like,
Yeah,
aren't you
and
scared?
I don't know. I feel like I don't believe them. But like even when I worked at Langston and that lady said like, "Oh, when you wrote this sentence, like how did you decide to use the word in instead of among?" And I was like, "Well, it made sense to me. But like if you think I should change it, you should tell me to just change it." And she was just like, "No, I want to know." And I was like, "Well, in my," I said, "Well, in my thought, like it was like in a community, not among the community. It was like in." And she was like, "Yeah, but it should be among." I was like, "Well, then just freaking tell me to change it."
Just change it.
Like,
Right.
like I guess it's like we're not gonna see it eye to eye. It did have a reason for choosing this word, but if you prefer or you can explain to me why I should use this other way, like then I'll do that. But like otherwise, like I'll just change it because it makes it
Yep.
easier, better for you. Like I do have a reason. I don't usually do things like blindly.
Arbitrarily.
Yeah, but it is like explaining it is like a whole other thing, especially like if you care about it and I don't care about it, then like I'm usually
Let's
like,
just do yours.
yeah, let's just do it. And then like, no, I need you to explain. I'm like, oh, that's
I
going to
don't
take
want
energy.
to.
And
Yeah.
I don't have any time to do that because I am not as invested in this story as you are. So fucking
Let's move
change it,
on.
bro. Yeah. But anyway, it's really I find people fascinating and I think that the whole thing about like just listening and watching Kendrick and other artists, I know that like we don't have any what is it called entitlement to access to artists, but I do like I wish that Beyonce still did interviews a little bit cuz I'm so curious about alligator tears. Like I don't like I know that there was like several people who wrote on that, but like just the lyrics and songs I'm just like, "Oh, can you?"
See, but I always think that like when Beyonce lists like 20 people that wrote something, I always just think of it as like litigation proof. Like she wrote it, but if like you were saying, if somebody's even a little bit like Quinta Brunson and her friends and like farming them for and them getting credit, like she has so much money and she's such a big star that like she just I don't give a shit. Like
Yeah,
take the
I completely
0.01% of this
agree.
royalty
I
is easier
completely
than
agree. Yeah, because
yeah.
I'm like she's like Jay-Z wrote this one. And like I think it's just like, oh, I had a conversation with this person, I talked to this. I don't think they're like literally sitting in the like studio and being like, or if like a person changes a word. Did you see the interview with DJ Quick where he was like Kendrick came in and did a song with him and J Rock like all these years ago? And Kendrick did like some vocals and he wasn't sure how to pay him. So he just paid him $500 for like instruments and he didn't get any credit on the song. And
Mm-mm.
he's like, I didn't know how to pay him, but he was like, he was really talented. And he's like, I wish I had paid him more so he'd remember me. He's like, I had no idea. Yeah, but I was like, just stuff like that, where it's like all these people come in and like put stuff down, and then you're like even Billie Eilish, again, did that Apple Music interview, and she was talking about how she was talking to a friend, and the friend was describing a crush, and that's how she wrote Lunch. But that friend's not credited on that song. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it's like,
Right.
I don't know if the friend gets like, a couple dollars here, or
Where's
whatever.
the line, do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there is legally some line, but I think also Billy and Phineas are like invested in like it being just their names on all their songs because that's how it's been so far. So there's probably some kind of commitment to like keeping that.
Well, I mean, as far as artistry is concerned, like, what do you think should be, I guess, allowed is the best word? Like, if you're talking to me and it sparks an idea in me, do
I
you?
think you should have to make a material contribution. Like if you spark an idea, I still have to write it. Like
Yeah,
that's a lot of work
because
and I
writing
still
is hard.
have to compose it. I have to make it make sense. I have to think about tonally, is this word like the subject matter like in or among, like should I use this word or that word because this word feels better, but this word sounds better. You know what I mean? Like so if you're not contributing on that level where you're like making line edits and we're going back and we're bouncing, like I don't feel like that's a material contribution. But if you're Beyonce, you're just like, fuck it. I don't even want to have to
Yeah,
come
but I
back to
think
court
that
and
it
talk
would
about
feel
this.
weird if like you have a friend and you spark an idea and she's fucking Billie Eilish and
Yeah.
she's like on stage being like, I can't eat that girlfriend. Like she's like, that's my fucking song.
Yeah,
But
but I think also if you're
even
Billie Eilish's friend, she's probably taking care of you in other
in
ways.
some way,
Yeah,
yeah.
you get invited to the barbecue, right? But like, so do you think that you're like honored, or you think it's on the other end of the spectrum, and it
It
I think it
depends on
depends
goes
on the
how
friend.
it's handled. Like I think like if you think about I mean, I don't know what Ice Spice fell out with people about because obviously like she's not my
cup of tea?
target demographic. But I think that like when you think about folks like that where they're like, oh, you didn't do shit. You weren't in the gym with me. What did he
You
say?
wasn't shooting with me in the gym. I mean,
Yeah, you wasn't shooting baskets in the gym or whatever. You wasn't with me when I was shooting in the gym. Like I think that like there's a different mentality and I think it might also have to do with like scarcity. Like Billie Eilish and Beyonce and like big artists like that, they don't strike me as like people who would be like this might be the last song I ever fucking make, so I'm not going to give you anything. Like what
Yeah.
need my money. But I think like
Matter of fact, like Beyonce will take your ass off of a song. Like she'll
yeah,
re-release the
she
whole
like
fucking
redid
song.
that song so fast. Khalees was like, "You didn't talk to me." She was like, "Bitch, bye.
Yeah.
but
Didn't have to, and now I don't want to. Thank you. Have a great day."
but we see that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was going to say we see that too in that like some people. Like we've seen artists come out and their first album be great because it's just enthralled or embedded in the struggle, and then when they make some money, that second album is just lacking content. So like the further you get into stardom, the further you are disconnected from the real world as well.
Yeah,
I
I think
don't
you have to you have to like observe the world and be
yeah.
connected in some pace, or you can't make art. Like
Right,
art's not
because
isolated.
yeah, you can't like there's no one that seems more insular than again Beyonce. Like she doesn't say shit to anybody. She doesn't do interviews. She doesn't do da 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 da. Da. Like she's at home,
Hmm.
but she's still turning out albums that deeply resonate with people. So I think the trouble is, and I was just talking to my husband about this, is like people that don't do the work. Like there's infinite things in your brain that you can turn over and mull and work through, and like you never like that is the human experience. You never really get to the end of that, and I think that that is the difference between like
Kanye.
you having one album and you having 20.
Yeah. That's like the people are like Beyonce is definitely on the internet, but like the same thing is true with like Kendrick. Like that comment about like don't let white comedians speak on black women. Like
Right.
that seems very about shits and giggles. Like it does
Yeah,
seem
and
like it's
also fuck that guy.
yeah relevant. So it's like
I
I
thought it
don't
was
think
about
anybody.
Gary Owens.
It could have
Mm-mm.
been. It could have been, but people did mention Gary Owens too. But they're like, we feel like this has to do with shits and giggles.
Because I feel like the way Gary Owens does it is like he's respectful, like he knows his boundary.
Yeah, but he had some fucked up shit he said about
When he
his
got
ex.
a divorce, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that feels like husband wife shit.
Personal.
That didn't feel like he was taking it out to the whole community.
yeah, that's true. I mean, because I think what was trippy about Gary Owens to go off on a tangent is like you cheated on your wife, but you're gonna talk shit about her isolating your grown kids who probably don't want to see you because you did cheat on their mom. Like, it's not her job to make sure they go see you, bro.
That's real.
Like you need to go figure that shit out. But that's a whole other Oprah. Cause I think a lot of men do feel like, the mom should do that. And like, you wronged my mom and I care about her. She's my fucking mom. So like, that's on you. You got to figure that shit out. Like, how are you going to repair the relationship with your kids when you've hurt their mother?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a whole other thing. But yeah, I think that like I think that like I've tried to write some poetry, not that it's any good. And I had an idea that I was like, oh, I need to like get this out. Like this is what's weighing on me. But writing poetry is not as it's just not like it's like I think that what I've written conveys a message. And I thought about that too, because I was like, oh, I want to take a poetry class because there's books and stuff, but like you have this vision in your mind that people like write something and then that's it. Like they just sit down in a in a, in a yard, and then they write, and then like boom, they have this poem. But
Mm-hmm.
in reality, I think, I mean, so far, again, I'm a novice, but it's like it's been a lot of time like mulling over it and thinking of like what words might make sense, and like spending some time with it. But I don't know if that's how other people do it. But like you said, like, yeah, there's an idea sparked, but the rest of it is my baby.
Agreed.
Yeah. Cause I went to a conference last week, and there was a poet laureate or whatever from Los Angeles. And she was reading her poem, and I was like, well, it's not as deep as I thought. Like, you don't have to be Amanda Gorman. Like, like you might have some poems that just are like, hers was just about her dad, like playing jazz music and how much she loved California.
No worries.
I mean, but
But like some people
Governor,
can turn that into
Governor
something
Newsom thought it was brilliant.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, anyway.
Well, I figured out what I'm gonna do with my life.
What's that?
I'm gonna write smut.
You should.
My God.
And honestly, like this goes into like it's not as easy as it looks because I had this exact same idea last December, and I've been trying to write smut
I don't know
all
if I
year.
would. No offense, but I don't know if I would read your smut.
Right, exactly. I'm not the person
I'm
for
not going to
that.
read yours, but I feel like you would be good at it. But like, and like, I just feel like, that.
I tried. I
No,
tried
not
for a
you,
whole
Clarence.
year. Yeah, you would be great at it,
Yeah,
but
not
not
you.
me. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
it has to be the right modality for the people. You can make a ton of money.
Yeah. I just feel like that's what I meant when I was thinking about Ryan Murphy. I was like, this man's brain is probably like fucked. You know what I mean? Like, if you think about it, like he's probably, I don't know if anybody else has this, but I have like these thoughts, these really random, inappropriate thoughts. Like when someone's talking,
Yes, I have some
sometimes I can
intrusive
be like,
thoughts. Yeah, I
why
want to
did I
stab this
think
person.
about that?
Yeah,
So I think that Ryan Murphy takes those thoughts and then just goes with it. Like
yeah.
it'll be like completely random. Like someone will talk to me and I'll be like, they're not even talking about sex. And I'll be like, oh, do you like have sex with people? Like, how does that work? And then I'm like, why am I thinking about that?
Yeah.
Like it's just a mess like in my brain. And I think that like if I were Ryan Murphy, and probably like me, like now that I'm exploring more writing, I probably will write that out. Like just like what I imagine,
But like, yeah, Clarence, like, I'm not telling you to do this because I don't know, but like, have
Okay.
you read like
romance novels.
not even romance, but like dark romance?
There was, Stephen King ventures into it every once in a while.
I think that you would be really good at like a dark rom com. Like there are these books that are like,
Are we talking 50 Shades of Grey? What are we talking?
no, I'm talking Butcher and Blackbird. Like go read Butcher and Blackbird. I think you could do
You
that.
don't think he's just like regular smut?
Yeah, I was
This
going
is smut. This is what I'm saying. Like go read that, and then
Or
actually,
romance? Like
and there's all sorts of genres.
You said
Um,
Blackbird and what?
Butcher and Blackbird. I think that that's probably, and then read Lights Out by Nevessa Allen. I think you could do that, but I also think you could do and then read.
Damn, Dre, how much smut do you read?
This is what I'm saying. I was
a lot.
trying to write it, so I was reading it, and
It's research.
like,
Huh? It's
listen,
research.
this
Yeah.
is not. I can't do this. I have to do something else.
Yeah, I just can't imagine like the way you get like flustered or whatever.
Yeah, I had to fast forward
Like
a
I
lot.
just can't
You're
imagine
like,
you
oh
being like,
my.
man.
Clutches
Turn
pearls.
the
Yeah.
page.
Yeah,
Turn the page.
yeah. You're like,
I was like, don't want to know. Flip it.
I couldn't even imagine you being with an editor. They're like, oh, and then when you talk about him doing this with his mouth, you'd be like, excuse me,
Please
I
stop
need a
talking to
No.
me
trigger
about
warning.
it. I
They're
don't
like,
want to
bitch, you
know.
wrote it.
Like,
Mom.
I know, but I didn't know we were going to talk about it.
Yeah. You read it in
You're
silence.
doing
You read
book
it up there
reading.
by
Yeah,
yourself.
this is the silent reading portion of our editing session.
You're
You
like,
just outline in red what you don't
yeah,
like,
you're
and
doing
I
a
will take
tour.
care
They're
of
like,
it.
can you come read the book? You're like, no,
No,
absolutely not. I would
absolutely
never read
not.
that. And they're
Yeah.
like, What the
Cool.
fuck? You could do American fiction of it, you could like ghostwrite it for
But
some.
that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, I had this idea last year, and I even talked to William about it. I told you, like, I'm in this writing group, and this woman posted how much money she had made that year from Kindle Unlimited, and it was $145,000 and some change. And William was like, "I don't care what the fuck you have to do, go write that shit." So I found her pen name, and she's from Oklahoma. I found her pen name, and I went and read her book, and it was so off the charts. I gave it to William. I was like, "Seriously?" And he goes,
Like
this is
good
a
or
lot." It's like they're doing what with the plate? Like, I don't understand why. Like, she just picked up this stranger, and I'm like, I know, babe, but she made one hundred and forty-five
But I
thousand
guess
dollars.
like, the fun part about books, right, is like you could just guess what happened.
Right, but like my brain isn't going to come up with those things. Like,
my
I
brain's up.
decided that I was going to do
Yeah,
this, and I was
I
like,
think
"There's
my
money
brain
in
could
it.
do
I
that.
don't care. It's all fiction." And then I immediately went and bought 25 books about writing it. I was like, "That's probably not really inspirational."
Did you buy these books in public or did you have them ordered to
No,
the house?
I bought them.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
thought.
yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
had
just,
them.
Have to.
can I borrow those books?
Hey, Dree, when we were little and Dad had like porn stashed around the house, did you go and find it and look at it or no?
We all did. Yeah, of
Okay, I
course.
just wanted to know. Like, I was
So,
curious.
That's probably my problem.
No,
so
I
it
was
was
just curious
so,
for my research if you were like,
but it's interesting though that it was a solo mission for you. Like you had to wait until everybody was gone. Yeah. No, me and Nick tag teamed that shit. It would just be
That's
like,
so weird.
not together. We'd just be like, yeah, have you seen this one?
I don't want to talk to anybody about it.
I think like it's really interesting because I think that there's some things that I didn't feel shame about, and then I was like, oh, I needed to learn shame about, and then I was like recently, like yesterday, I decided I was going to walk around in my shirt and my underwear because obviously I was at home. And then someone came by to visit, and I was like, I need to go get dressed. And then I was like, bitch, you showed up unannounced.
You get what you get. You see all this belly today,
Yeah,
baby.
baby,
I was already in my
you
natural
getting it.
state.
Do you feel
Yeah.
uncomfortable?
That is really interesting because if I need to go outside and get something, because I keep a lot of shit in my car. If I need to go get something, like, I'm just like, all right, I'll just go out. It's like a swimsuit. I just go out in
Yeah.
my
That's how I
whatever.
feel. I'm like, this is
But
my
like,
butt. It's covered. But
if
like, if
I
I were wearing a
actually go to the
bikini,
pool in a swimsuit, I'm like, ooh, you know what I mean?
yeah. No, I'm just like, this is what it is. Like, I don't know. Even with like, when I was breastfeeding, I like went through a phase of like, oh, I'm gonna cover up, and then eventually I was like, fuck it, they're hungry.
It's out.
Yeah, she's playing with a bottle.
You've never seen one before, bud?
You ever seen boobs? Like the only time that it mattered was like little kids because they're doing.
Because I don't want to be on the registry list.
I have to go.
You have to leave now.
Yeah, I have to leave. Simeon is stranded. His car won't start.
Okay.
All right, be
Well,
careful.
anyway, I don't know if you want to like just say what you're reading and then hang up.
Yeah, let's just do it real quick. I started reading. I don't know how I found her, but I found this lady. Her name's Kathleen Yardley, and she writes romance novels, but about older couples.
I know how you found
She, don't do that. But she wrote, the first book that I read was about this guy. He just turned 50, and the main character that's a female, she was like 47. And I was like, this is interesting. So it was really good. So I've read a couple of her books, and it's nice to see like older people in
it.
books.
Ew. Ew.
Clarence.
Okay, well, I watched the piano lesson. It was fantastic. The last episode of From for this season was fucking garbage. I want my money back. And I watched something else. It escapes me. The piano lesson was not what I was expecting. It was fantastic. There were some supernatural elements there and beautiful.
Okay. I'm all over the place with my reading. I'm listening to Insight by Tasha Eurich, The Cancer Journals by Audre Lorde, and All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson.
So next week we have to talk about how you read 3 different books at the same time and not mix them up.
Yeah, I think that it takes me a little bit, but yeah, we can totally talk about it because I'm like, it takes me a little bit to like remember the story,
Yeah.
and then I'm like,
Yeah.
oh right, but then like
Here's where I'm
The
Right.
issue with it is like Insight is a nonfiction book, so it's boring sometimes.
Yeah, so you got to switch.
So I'm like, okay, let me read something else,
Yeah.
Anyway, and the Cancer Journals is, poems. All right. Thanks, y'all.
All right. Bye, y'all. This has
See you next
been It's Fine,
week.
Sweetie podcast. We'll see you next time.
Love you.
Ew, Dree. The name. Ew.
What?
The name of that website you just sent out.
That's,
Ew.
you said, what's the name of the book? I sent it to you.
I don't think I can write smut. My
Shut up.
delicacies.
Well, just read romance. I think you should read romance first. Like, ease yourself into it. Okay, bye.
Level up. Okay, bye.